What's going on, guys? It's Snooze603, and joining me today, as always, is FakeThriller.
Hey, it's been a while since we did one of these.
You know, it's funny. We actually had a comment on a video today saying, what happened to these dual comms by FakeThriller and Snoob? I missed those. And the answer to that, which I did answer in the comment, was a complete lack of time.
People think...
Or schedule mesh.
People were making comments saying that we broke up.
Really?
Yeah. Like, because you were posting, like, you posted like 3 or 4 days straight. And people were like, where's FakeThriller?
Oh, yeah. It's like people, for some reason, like, ever since we stopped posting Battlefield 3 on a regular basis, like that being our go-to game, it's like people have all of a sudden completely forgotten everything about us. Like, you guys forgotten that we have full-time jobs and families, and Chris works crazy schedule that makes it difficult for us both to get together at the same time to get these dual comms done.
Yeah.
But, that's pretty much it. The big thing has been scheduling conflict. And the other thing has been a lack of good topics that we felt were not only worth our time, but definitely worth your time. We weren't just blowing smoke up your ass talking about absolutely nothing. So, with that in mind, let's talk about Battlefield 3 weapon balance. This has been a hot topic for quite a while, and recently it's really been coming to light with our ACWR video. If you guys aren't aware of it, that's our most popular video. Last I checked was today. It had about 129,000 views, and for some reason that video seems to be getting a lot of comments regarding weapons that are possibly overbalanced. Sorry, overpowered. Sorry, it's been a long day, a little tired. So the main culprits that keep coming up very often, obviously the M16A3, and I say obviously not as in I'm agreeing, it's just that that's what everyone talks about. Right behind that is the M416, which I happen to think is better, but I think I'm on the in the minority on that one. A lot of people still think the M16A3 is better. The M4A1 still, and I would say most recently, and now seems to be the most popular culprit for being OP, the UMP45.
I think the major problem with talking about weapons being overpowered is a lack of awareness when it comes to the definition or what people should assume overpowered actually is, and then on top of that, a lack of people removing emotional experiences from their judgment.
Exactly.
So what happens a lot is people, you know, all it takes is like 2 or 3 games in a row where you're getting stomped by... It could literally be the same squad of people running M16s or AEKs or something like that, and then by the end of that experience, if they've been like teabagging you all night, you're going to think that the AEK is overpowered. It's possible that you would start to feel that that gun's overpowered.
Right, exactly. So this is kind of how I feel about everything, and I know that a lot of our comments are, and just our commentaries in general, we make a very good point that everything we say is opinion-based. When there are facts in there, we try to back them up with information or any sort of research, you know, quote-unquote research that we've done ourselves to back up what we're talking about as facts. This is one of those things where there's really nothing that I can pull up and absolutely prove to you and show you without a shadow of a doubt. This is what's backing up my point. But I'm going out on a limb here and saying that what I'm about to say is definitely fact. This is what makes a gun overpowered, or OP. Is a gun that can kill anyone using anything at any range. And to give you an example of that would be the USAS-12 with frag rounds back in the day, pre-patch. That thing could devastate anyone using anything at any range, unless you were an exceptionally good player.
Let me elaborate on the definition of overpowered a little bit. And it's something that nobody can clearly define except for people who collect statistics on the game, whether it's the game developers or third-party websites, if they have access to the important information. And what that information is not necessarily the amount of use that a certain weapon gets, because it's possible for a weapon to be really popular but not overpowered. It's more importantly the performance that that weapon has in equal ratios to every other weapon. So even if people are using the M416 300% more than they're using the AEK, they could still both be equally powerful, just the M416 is more popular. But what you'll see if you have enough data to look at is all of a sudden the average KD of the users using the M416 is 3.5 when the average KD of the users of the AEK is only like 1.3. You might think that you could reasonably assume that the M416 is either overpowered compared to the AEK or the AEK is underpowered compared to the M416. And then when you look at the broad spectrum of different informations on average across a wide player base, then you can really analyze the info and decide whether a gun needs to be weakened or buffed. I hope everyone followed that, because that was like kind of a long explanation, but I think I nailed it.
Well, the other thing I want to bring up too is I think a lot of people get overused and overpowered very, very easily confused. And the other aspect of it is every game has to have a gun that is the best. It doesn't have to be ridiculously better, because okay, now you're talking about OP, but there's always going to be a gun that is the best, and I feel like you really need to have that, because so what happens if you don't? Say you don't have the M416 or the UMP45 or the M16A3 or whatever. Okay, well, for the sake of arguments, we'll say those are the best guns in the game. No, we'll simplify it. M16A3, best gun in the game. That's the one everyone says is still overpowered, always has been, always will be, blah, blah, blah. M16A3 is the best gun in the game. You need to have that. There always has to be a gun that's better than everything else. If you don't, let's take a step back. Okay, so now you've got like 5 weapons, and maybe in some cases upwards of 10. We'll say that there's 5 to 10 guns in the game that operate exactly the same. They are just as good as the other in any and all situations. Whether it be short range or long range or hip firing, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're talking statistically they're the same. Well, now you guys are all going to complain that, well, this game's boring. All these guns are exactly the same. Why? This is lazy then. Why did they give us different guns to use? Well, because when we do that, we have to have one gun that's clearly better than the rest. Well, maybe not clearly, but better.
I think in this day and age, too, it's sort of, like you're saying, it needs to be done, whether... Like, it almost sounds like you're saying it's intentionally done, but at the same time, I think it's an inevitability that certain guns are going to flat out be better than others, because the statistics that they have to available to them right now to tweak to balance these guns, they don't balance within themselves. So what I mean by that is the most common stats that they could tweak is damage, probably rate of fire, and probably bullet spread. But bullet spread, unless you really nerf the crap out of bullet spread, like when aiming down sights, the gun is probably still going to be just as effective as long as the rate of fire and the damage stay constant with its compatriots in the same compartment or category. I don't there's I'm looking at Simthic right now, and there's like literally 24 different statistics that they could tweak, but half of them don't even matter because they're like ADS spread and like run speed and like crouch speed and stuff like that. And those don't really make a difference. You get your big ones like rate of fire and bullet spread and damage, and you can only have so many variations of that. So once you get the right combination of decent damage and in Battlefield 3, what we've said time and time again on our weapon reviews is that rate of fire basically reigns supreme. And that's what we see with the M16. Its rate of fire is 800 rounds per minute, which for a 25 damage assault rifle is insanely fast and incredibly deadly.
Right. I definitely don't like when people complain about the guns being overpowered. My philosophy, or just my viewpoint overall on Battlefield 3, I think this is one of the best games out there so far as weapon balance goes. I don't think any one of these guns is good across the board. Like, it's pretty good, but it's not better than everything else in every situation.
Well, and then your other option is if anybody follows, if anyone's ever heard of Woody's Gamertag, I don't know if you know who he is, but he does Call of Duty commentaries, and his big thing when he refers to Modern Warfare 3 weapon balance is If you were to go ask an average Modern Warfare 3 player what the overpowered gun is, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that they could name any one of like 9 or 10 different guns, because they just ramped up the damage and ramped up the rate of fire and the time to kill on every single gun in that game, to the point where it feels like every single gun is a death machine. Battlefield 3 sort of scaled it back and left some weapons just flat out harder to use, and then, like what I was saying before, once the stats sort of align, you have these guns that just become easier to use just because their stats are so much better.
Right.
So.
And with all that being said, the most important factor about what makes a gun good has nothing to do with the gun. It's the player. And what one gun can do in one person's hand is not the same as what another person can do.
Well,
and case in point is with a lot of our weapon reviews. Like, a lot of you guys, you know, it's always funny whenever we give a gun a bad review, people always come out and be like, oh my god, fuck you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. I do phenomenal with this gun. And there's like, out of 1,000 comments, there's 2 people that say that.
But at the same time, on the other hand, there's almost always undeniable weapons that are the best. And all you have to do is look at basically pro players or MLG games to see what they are, and there's usually no argument. I mean, there's usually guns that float to the top that are the best guns, but they're not necessarily overpowered.
Right, and I agree with that, and I think that's what a lot of people are just... If I didn't make that clear before, I'll reiterate that point again. Just because the gun is the best gun doesn't mean it's overpowered. There's always going to be the best gun in a game, but it doesn't make it overpowered. The best example I can give, so the UMP-45, that was what really kind of kicked off this whole commentary. Someone said, you know, it's so overpowered, needs to be nerfed, blah, blah, blah. I disagree, because of the damage stats. Yes, it is 34 damage per bullet. At close range is at 8 meters, I believe.
8 meters, yeah.
8 meters, okay? And then it drops down to 12.5 at 40.
12.5, by the way, is 8 shots to kill.
Right, so, okay.
Out of a 26-round magazine.
Right, and I mean, you have to have superb aim to make all of that count. But the thing is, the rate of fire in that gun is only 600 rounds per minute. That's not that fast. So, yes, if you have incredibly good aim and you are doing nothing but operating inside of that close range, it's a great gun. And that's what someone was trying to tell me today. Their argument for it being a good gun was that I always got wrecked in close range because that's the only part where I, came up against it.
So here's a good example, just to cut you off real quick, about what I was saying. What Woody's Gamertag always likes to reference is that there's usually a large amount of what people call overpowered guns. And it's no different in this category, in the PDW category for Battlefield 3. I think I've heard people say the MP7, the UMP, the MK5, and what's the other one? People have mentioned almost every single weapon in that category. The P90 was the last one. So we've got M5K, MP7, P90, and UMP. So that's 4 out of 8 that are allegedly overpowered. I don't understand how that works. So you mean they're powered because it's half of the guns are all overpowered? That doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you. It's one of those guys, if you're getting wrecked by a gun in certain situations, change what you're doing. It's not that hard. So the UMP-45 is a beast up close. Slow rate of fire, so you can counter it in one of 2 ways. One, slap on something like, I don't know, the MP7 or the P90, the AEK, something with a really high rate of fire. Even the FAMAS, which is 1,000 rounds per minute. And so long as you've got the same accuracy or better as that guy using the UMP-45, you should be able to outshoot them. Because you've got that higher rate of fire. You just need to be... You get half a step better than them.
Yeah, you just gotta have a better awareness as far as what you're calling OP and what you're calling powerful and good.
Right. So, I don't know. I could go on and on about how you could counter every single gun that's supposedly OP. Dude, it's really simple. If you're getting wrecked in close range, find a gun that does really well in long range, back up and wait for that guy to show his face. Boom, you're gonna win. Case in point again, if you're getting knocked off by someone long range by an awesome gun, pick up a gun that's really good range, work a good flank, and just destroy him up front.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
And if neither of those work, then get good, bro. You're bad.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of these kids that are complaining is their skill level might not be exactly up to par. And I'm not saying I'm good. For some reason, a lot of you guys think that we think we're like elite players. No, we're pretty fucking average as far as I'm concerned.
Pretty bad.
And I mean, yeah, sure, we've joked around about being good, but no, in all honesty, we're not. We are average, maybe in our best, slightly better than average, but we're not great players, and we definitely get our asses kicked a fair share amount of time. I mean, you can look at our stats. We're not elite players by any means, but I mean that's pretty much it as far as Overpowered goes. I wholeheartedly 110% disagree with anyone that says there's an OP gun in Battlefield 3 right now. I think that they have nailed the weapons balance pretty good. It's one of the few things in this game that I think is damn near perfect. No, it is perfect. There's really nothing I can say that I would like to see them change.
AC-130.
Maybe the suppression. That's not a gun.
AC-130 gun OP is a mofo.
Get me started on the freaking vehicles of this game.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that right now. I think we're going to wrap this up though, because we're going past 15 minutes. So.
Oh dang! So all right, leave some comments. Let me know how just badly you guys disagree with me on this. I look forward to discussing this with you. Leave some constructive comments though, please, because if I see those flat out asshole comments, just do my thing, delete them like usual. So all right, that's gonna wrap it up. We appreciate you guys leaving some feedback as always, and we'll catch you guys later.
Snoof's block button is OP.
This is undeniable.
Later, guys.